Hello, Facebook world. This is John Israel, aka Mr. Thank You here from Mr. Thank You World headquarters. It was actually pretty funny. I was doing a podcast the other day, and the podcast host actually introduced me as Mr. Thank You, aka John Israel, which I thought that was pretty funny because I know there's a joke that goes around when your Instagram handle becomes more your real name than your real name. So I think we're about getting there. So here I am at Mr. Thank You World headquarters, aka my office, which is a little bigger than a closet. It's a glorified closet, it's really what it is. And I'm making these weekly videos, Mr. Thank You Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central Time. And I like to take a specific topic to discuss. And sometimes it might be reading a thank you card, sometimes it might be writing thank you cards, sometimes it might be interviewing a guest or something like that. So we're going to be doing these every single week. And if you're not getting our emails, make sure you go to mrthankyou.com, create a free account, and then we'll be getting you our weekly email updates. So just so you guys know where we're at, as of this moment today, we have, as a community, sent out 6,463 thank you cards. And just in the last week alone, it was 498 sent out amongst all the members in the Mr. Thank You community. So just wanted to appreciate all you guys for that. That is amazing how much love and gratitude is going out there. I just got a message from Courtney out in Arizona, and she showed me some photos of all the personalized um, uh, Valentine's Day cards she was sending out to all of her clients. She's a real estate agent, and it was really cool. And she said, well, she told me this yesterday. She said, my phone's been blowing up from all these clients reaching out, just saying thank you for their Valentine's Day cards. So hey, of any day, this is the day to rack up those thank you points, those love points, and just really appreciate the people who are around us. So got just a couple of things I want to address and talk about today because as you can hear, my throat is not at a level 10 performance. And I know some of you guys saw that recently I totally lost my voice. It was kind of a bad scenario combined with I got sick over the weekend to having to do a couple of podcasts and a webinar, which totally just rocked my voice, and I was out for the count, down for the count on Tuesday. So I'm better enough to have this conversation with you guys, but I have taken many of your advice. I've got my honey and my lemons right here. I got a big thing of lemons from Whole Foods just to get the good stuff, and then I got my throat coat, which is throat comfort. Here you go, by Yogi Brand. I don't know if this counts as a sponsorship, but either way. Wanted to read you guys a letter I just got in the mail, and this is actually from Tiago in Portugal. So this is pretty cool. So Tiago is in a mastermind that I'm in called M1, and they had me on one of their Monday night lives to share about the Mr. Thank You story. And so I want to read you guys what he wrote, what he sent out. So it says, Dear John, I have been procrastinating writing this letter for weeks. Can anyone relate to that, by the way? Truth is, I was scared to do it. Not only is this inviting me out of my comfort zone, but like, what the hell what do you thank Mr. Thank You for? What do I say to the man who sent thousands of thank you notes? What do I have to add in my thank you note? Well, that's exactly the first thing I wanted to thank you for. You see, I realized that I was focusing on myself, and by doing that, I wasn't allowing the space for gratitude to come in and flow through me. It's not about me. Then I realized something else. It's not about you either. I was also so focused on how you would feel reading this, and I was not being genuine or authentic. That's the second thing I wanted to thank you for. It's about gratitude. That's what I realize now. What you're doing is so much bigger than any single individual. It's about all of us. It's about humanity, kindness, compassion, and love. Gratitude doesn't just create beauty in our lives, it also creates a space we need to be aware that life is, always was, and always will be beautiful. Awesome. I want to thank you from all my heart, my soul, John. What you are doing, your mission is very meaningful and important. Thank you for being you. Thank you for embracing such a purposeful cause. You connected me with this deeper truth that what really matters is what really matters. That's something I've always known and had lost along the way. I honor you and your mission, and I will do my part to help gift the world with a little more gratitude. Thank you, brother. You are a legend. You are Mr. Thank You. In gratitude, Tiago. Thank you, my man. It really means a lot. I appreciate getting this. So, as you can see behind me, I have my gratitude wall. So this section is pretty filled up. So we're going to go ahead and take a moment. We're going to add Tiago. Thank you, Tiago, to the gratitude wall. I read every letter that ever gets sent to me. I post it on the wall, and I'm going to hopefully not fall so I can get this thing hung up in a excellent fashion with my push pins that are totally going to void the warranty of anything I have in this office space. So it's all good. By the way, if you have any correspondence or anything to communicate or send to Mr. Thank You, feel free to go to mrthankyou.com. Very, very bottom of the page, or in our contact section, we also have my address and however you would like to communicate via email, phone number, whatever. Okay, so that was great, right? Excellent, amazing letter. Definitely not just a couple of sentences or anything. I mean, it was really, really heartfelt. Like that took him a while, and I find that some of the best cards that we give people do take the most effort, do take the most time, because you really want them to be meaningful. But I think Tiago really nailed it, because when it comes down to truly appreciating people, sometimes we get caught up in a couple of things. We get caught up like, how am I going to look? Is this going to be awkward? Is this going to be uncomfortable? Number one, how are they going to receive this? Are they going to care? Is this going to be weird? And we don't know what's going to happen. And I liken it to, if you're going to ask somebody on a date, or as a young man, I remember being in high school and asking a girl to a dance, and that experience of like, oh my god, what are they going to say? And fortunately, I don't think anyone said no to me for a dance, but I kind of knew they were going to say yes. That's why I asked them. But the point is, there's that level of vulnerability. That moment we let the card out into the world, we don't know what's going to happen. And so that's what's one of the beauties of it. That's why writing a note is it's a very emotionally powerful experience, because it causes us to go through certain spaces and to be vulnerable. And it's really interesting what happens is when we're vulnerable, and then the feedback we get can really be enlightening and really serve us at a high level. And sometimes it doesn't, because we don't hear anything back, and that's just the case for some types of gratitude. And we just have to know that and accept that and just be okay with it, because I think Tiago got something really clear there, which is that it's not even about how they respond, right? It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you did it, is that you were the leader. You were the one that said, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to tell somebody what I think about them, what I appreciate about them, why they're valuable to the world. And I can't tell you how valuable of a skill and an attribute that is, because whether or not people respond, they begin to know you as that type of person. They begin to know you as someone who is appreciative, who values those around them. And whether you see anything immediately or not, people start to treat you differently, because they know that they can trust you. They know that you're someone who is going to value their work and what they do. So I also wanted to kind of like wrap up with a story, which is it's in the Mr. Thank You book, so some of you guys have seen this. So I really loved getting Tiago's note. It was long. It was in a good way, right? It wasn't like boring. It was a good long note. Some of my best letters, you can see there's like lots, and there's people wrote like a full page. It wasn't just like, hey, thanks for that talk, or hey, thanks for that, whatever you did. People really kind of poured it out. And one of the best, it's funny, I remember with Monica when we had just moved to Dallas, and I had was in the Mr. Thank You project, and I actually hadn't written her a card yet, and it had been about a month and a half, and I knew I was going to get one for her, and I did, and I wrote one out, and I really like kind of poured it all out there, and I really just laid it out, like everything I loved about her. And it's kind of funny. She didn't say anything, or I didn't hear anything back. I was kind of wondering, like, did she get it? Did she open it? Like, what the heck? But I let it go. I was like, all right, hey, whatever. Again, this isn't about me. This is about just what I can do and give away to the world. Well, so a couple days later, I remember about to leave the house, and I was making coffee, and I always would, at that time, I would make a full thing of coffee, and I would pour it in a thermos for Monica to have during the day, and then I would drink mine in the morning, and then I would head out. But I realized in this moment that we had run out of coffee. So I was like, oh, crap, I got to go get some coffee. But I didn't have time because I had to go meet with a client. So I had time, and we had only one car at this time because we had just moved here. And I had enough time for me to go get my own cup of coffee at Starbucks and then just go straight to my appointment. But that would leave Monica in the house with no coffee. This is also when we had no furniture in the house. And Rowan was about not even a month old. and Anderson was still only about 2, so he was pretty like whiny. And she had spent all night, minimal sleep, nursing one, maybe 2 children. I don't know what happened that night. And I remember her waking up and walking down the stairs, and I was kissing her goodbye, and I just said, "Oh, by the way, we're out of coffee." And you could see like the subtle experience of like she started to get the reality of what just happened, which is like, oh, we're out of coffee. I'll just go get some. Oh wait, we don't have a car. I'm not gonna be able to get coffee. I haven't slept at all. I've been nursing all night, and you're leaving. Oh my god! And I get to see the like the fear, the anger, like all of it, just like right there. And I left, and I had to go to my appointment. So I was driving to Starbucks, and it was one of those moments where I could have like, I was going to Starbucks, and I was in line, and I had this idea of like, oh, I should probably get her some coffee. But if I did, it would totally be out of the way. It would be 15 minutes added to my trip, and it was that time frame when you're going to miss traffic, right? And it was that time frame of like, okay, if I'm just do everything I'm doing right now, I'll get on the freeway and I'll miss all the traffic and I'll make it on time to my appointment. And I was like, okay, if I take these extra 15 minutes, I will add 30 to 45 minutes to my commute because of how far I needed to go and the level of traffic I was about to hit. And I remember being in the Starbucks line, and I was just thinking to myself, um, how could you do this? How could you leave your wife hanging like that? And there was this moment of, didn't you just write her this super lovely, amazing, heartfelt letter about how much you valued her, and you're going to let her just go the day without coffee and struggle? And there was just this statement that came into my head, which is like, how do you treat that what you're grateful for? How can I say I'm grateful for this person, but then treat them like crap, or to not treat them at a high level? And I think that's a big disparity, and sometimes in relationships where we say how much we love and appreciate someone, and then we don't honor it, right? It's like even a salesperson saying, "Oh, we value our customers," or "I value my clients," but then you don't return an email or a phone call, right? Uh, or it's like you call a company and they put you on hold and they say, "We love and value all of our customers. Thank you for holding." And then they play some crappy music, and you're like, "Cool, that's great. If you really cared about me, maybe you'd have a human being to answer my call so I can get my question answered instead of waiting for 30 minutes," right? So how do you treat that what you're grateful for? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy her the cup of coffee. I'm gonna take it on the chin. I might be late to my client, but that's okay. This is more important. And I bought the coffee, drove back home, and I put a little note on it that said, "You are always worth a hot cup of coffee." And I put it on the doorstep with a card on top, a little like index card. And I sent her a text and I said, "Open the front door." And then I drove away. And she took a photo of it. She posted it on Instagram, and she told me that essentially that was the most valuable letter she had ever gotten from me. And it kind of threw me off a little bit because I'm like, didn't I just write you this amazing, huge, long love letter? Like, why is this like, one sentence card? Why is that more meaningful than just this whatever? And I think that's where like our words are powerful, but our actions in alignment with our words are even more powerful and more meaningful. And as a husband or a spouse, it's really important to get. It's really important to realize how much what we do, not just what we say, but how much what we do in alignment with what we say matters to people. So think about that. Who's your Valentine? Who do you appreciate? Who are you going to love on today? And I challenge you to not just write it down, but to really act on it and to show them how much you love them. So that's it for today's Mr. Thank You Thursdays at 3. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Make sure to log on to Mr. Thank You. Log all your thank you cards, your love cards, whatever you're sending out. If you need anything, hit me up, john@mrthankyou.com, or feel free to comment, and I'll reply to anything I see. You guys have a great day. Peace.